Manuel Ugarte is not ready, at least not for now, according to the boss. How much longer are we supposed to wait to see the savior start playing for the beloved club? Welcome to the United of Sport. My name is Webb. Here is a quick look at something sort of a concern as confirmed by the manager in the post-match press conference following our loss to Liverpool. What exactly is going on? Like, share, subscribe as we get into it. Oh, it's not the kind of news you would want to start your early morning with, but relax, listen, guys. At times, you've got to first endure pain before you feel joy. And I trust you, me, that's always going to be the best joy. If you go through it for a long time, when the joy comes eventually, like they say, it always comes in the morning. When that morning knocks for joy to come, it's always going to be good. But here is the sad bit. Erik ten Hag, speaking in his post-match press conference after a loss to Liverpool, hinted that Manuel Ugarte might not be ready to play for even months. This is according to Erik ten Hag. It could take him months to get ready to play because he did not have a single minute in preseason. Of course, you know the usual things he says, and he's saying he did not have a single minute during preseason, and that's not good. He has got to get him ready, and it could take him months to do so. Now, what this would mean inadvertently is that we'll either be stuck with Casemiro for the next games where we face the likes of Southampton, the likes of Barnsley, where we face the likes of Crystal Palace, where we face the likes of Spurs. We could be stuck with Casemiro or the young 20-year-old Toby Collier. Now, this is worrying in every sense of the word. Why? Because, of course, I know that the games are not so huge. I think with the exception of Spurs on the 29th of September, I think Southampton, Barnsley, and Crystal Palace are teams we can try to beat even with Casemiro. But it's a concern because you're thinking you brought Manuel as a silver bullet to come in and immediately solve a big glaring problem you've had. And whereas you certainly want to see him play when he's ready, he can't take so long considering how destroyed Casemiro was from the past game. We are made to understand, and Erik ten Hag tried to deny it, that Casemiro, the moment he was pulled off at halftime, he just put on his clothes and left Old Trafford. At halftime, he left the stadium, drove away. He did not even wait for the game to end. Now, if that is true, because Erik ten Hag denied it, saying that at the end of the game he found him in the dressing room, it's very unprofessional. But even just staying in the dressing room is unprofessional enough, because, I mean, if you're a substitute, you're pulled off from a game, it's not a red card. Why aren't you sitting on the bench and watching the rest of the game? Well, it's an ego thing. It shows you how these players are not a team. And Casemiro has proven to be that kind of person anyway. Because you do recall in the FA Cup final, when he was dropped ahead of, for Amrabat to start ahead of him, he decided to pretend to be injured and he opted out of the squad. Now, this is the mentality of should be senior players, top earners at the club, players who expect to be exemplary to the rest of the young players, have such a mentality that when you have a bad game, which is a normal thing, because a few weeks ago when the league was starting, we were praising Casemiro as arguably United's best performer. This time, he had a bad game. He was our worst performer. And it is normal for a player who has won everything, a player who has had injuries, to have a bad in office. Happen to all of us, even if you're not a footballer. But it doesn't mean that because you've had a bad day in office and you're pulled off for a young player, Toby Collier, you can't stay there. You can't stay away. It's a professionalism. It's a shame to see coming from Casemiro. He is exemplary, kind of players. Now, if that's the player we're going to have to stick with for another month or so, in our middle, are we going to perform and play our best football when the engine, because I keep saying it, that the Casemiro position, the number 6 position, is the fulcrum on which the team spins. That's why you saw when Casemiro was making those mistakes, we are getting punished. There are mistakes you can get away with. You can get away with mistakes from a striker, from winger, but not mistakes from a centre back, not mistakes from a goalkeeper. Those three departments crucial. They have got to always be on their A game, on their best behavior. Now, if Casemiro's mistakes, you saw what they did. Now, are we going to endure that even more? You can risk having a number 8, a Bruno, make mistakes, but a number 6 is the fulcrum on which your team spins. So any mistake will expose you a lot if you're playing against a team that's highly effective like Liverpool were, because on both occasions, on both mistakes he made, were punished badly. So for me, I think it's a worrying thing, and Erik ten Hag has got to find ways of ensuring that Manuel Ugarte is fit and available in time. And of course, we know that now we've gone into an international break, which is not doing us any favors, to be honest, because after the international break, then you don't know, first of all, what state these players are going to return in. You don't know how fit these players will be, because remember, these players have already played too much football. Then they are going to lose time. Probably Erik ten Hag today is taking the next jet back to his native Netherlands. I know that Arne Slot, the Liverpool boss, confirmed that he's going to Netherlands today. I don't know whether it's the same with Erik ten Hag, but I mean, even if he's not going back, I mean, if for as long as the players are not there, what are you going to do? So it's an international break. So it's sort of a major setback and a concerning one at that. And this, we are heading, whereas the season is still early, we do want to pick up our rhythm early. And picking up the rhythm means winning the games we should be winning. And even if it's not in the Premier League, even if it's the Carling Cup, it's any game United wins now is a good game that will eventually help us or improve us in the league, where I think it's the most we've had the biggest issues, because we need a lot of games for players, this team to jail, for players to get the match fitness that Erik ten Hag claims most of them not to have. So we don't want to lose any day, any minute. So it's a concern, and it's sad that Erik ten Hag sees it that way. Of course, whether it's true or not, I mean, the reality is Manuel Ugarte was supposed to be that player. It immediately slides into the squad and solves problems, but his readiness is a concern. So what to do? Stick with Manuel Ugarte, rather stick with Casemiro, who is clearly out of his element. He's not enthused about playing for United anymore. I'm not sure if I'm Erik ten Hag, I would select a player who I substitute and he chooses to walk away, senior player. If it's a young kid, I would be thinking maybe he felt destroyed, maybe he lost. But for a senior player like him, I mean, you don't do that. And I've tried to read between the lines with Casemiro. He has got something about his character. I remember last season when we were attacking him. I mean, he took a lot of flack for, again, poor performances when he was playing in the central defense and stuff. He had actually to hold an interview in his defense. I mean, one season I was the best player, and all of a sudden I'm the worst. And I'm thinking, did Casemiro have to do that? Did he have to go out in an interview and try to defend himself? I mean, you don't defend yourself in interviews. And this is a problem that Man United players have had. And that's why there is a proper need for these players to be handled. And that's why I also say Erik ten Hag, in a way, does not seem to have total control and authority over this squad. I don't think, for example, if it's an Arsenal player, I don't think Thomas Partey or whichever star player at Arsenal you would think about, Gabriel Jesus, would be substituted at halftime after having a bad day in office, and he would immediately drive away and leave, or he would be pulled out of the starting 11 in an FA Cup final, and he chooses to not to pretend to be injured and not pulls out of the squad. I don't think he would attacked for poor performances and he drops an interview defending himself. I don't think that would happen at Arsenal. I don't think that would happen at Man City. It only happens at a club where the players don't fully respect the manager, at a club where the players do not really have a culture that they respect and fit under. For me, it's a sign of egos, and for me, these are egos and wings that should be clipped. That's my honest opinion. So Casemiro, for me, should be now on a steady downward spiral, and there's no way back for him. My name is Webb. This is the Nature of Sport. Like, share, and subscribe. and I'll catch you later.